I've tried to be an astronaut, an actor, a top producing salesman, a real estate investor, a photographer, an antiques dealer, and now I work in healthcare with seniors. If you're over 50 and you feel like you've lived 5 different lives, this one is for you. You know, I think a lot of people can relate to this. When I was a child, from 8 years old to maybe 15, I wanted to be an astronaut. I really did. I watched the Apollo moon missions and I wanted to do that. I wanted to go to the moon. That was my dream. And I think we all have dreams, especially as children. And as we grow older, we don't dream as much. But that wasn't the case for me. I've always had dreams. Even today, at 61 years old, I still have dreams, which is why I'm talking to you here on YouTube. So yeah, I mean, a lot of it I think was about attention. You know, I wanted the attention. Those Apollo guys got a lot of attention. Any of you that are old enough to remember, when they came back from the moon, there were many missions, but I don't remember the particular names of all of them. But when they came back, they got a lot of attention. They had identity, and they went into outer space. You know, remember Star Trek? I was a Trekkie. So fast forward to my 20s. I didn't go to college right away. I went later. So in my 20s, I wanted to make a lot of money. And what was the quickest route for someone without a college degree to make a lot of money? We're talking about the late 80s, the mid to late 80s, early 90s. Sales. So I wanted to be a salesman. I thought to myself, this is how I will make a lot of money. My first sales job, you're going to laugh, my first sales job was selling vacuum cleaners door to door. Remember the door-to-door salesman, the vacuum cleaner salesman? That was me. I used to go knock on doors and sell these. I won't say what brand it was, but you all know the brand. I would sell these high-end vacuum cleaners. And I think I was there for 3 or 4 years. So it wasn't like something I just did for the summer and quit. And I think my first year I made $40,000, something like that. And that was a lot of money in 1985, 86. $40,000 a year for a kid living at home with his parents with basically no bills other than a car payment. So I thought that was my ticket, sales. Do you remember the buy homes with no money down? It was, those infomercials ran constantly, every night on television. Buy homes for no money down. I made $33 million last year flipping real estate with no money down. Anyone can do it. Just pay me $500 for my course, and I'll show you how. So, of course, me being easily influenced, kind of gullible, and looking for a shortcut, I went into that. I fell into that, and I tried. I really tried hard I put a good 2 years into it. I got my real estate license. I signed up with a brokerage. I thought, well, if I sell real estate, I'll have even more access to good deals on the market. But it really didn't go as planned. And then day trading. Day trading was the big thing. Remember in the late 90s, the tech bubble, and everyone was buying stocks. No matter what you bought, it went up. As long as you bought technology, it went up. I signed up for day trading courses to learn how to day trade. And around that time, my father passed away and I inherited some money, not not millions of dollars, but a nice chunk of change that I wish I hadn't squandered on day trading, because that's exactly what I did. I stayed home for, I think it took me 8 months. It took me 8 months to lose all that money. So I did that for 8 months, probably spent 6 or 7 months in preparation, not to mention the expense of all those computers I bought, those monitors, the high-speed internet connection I needed. And then, of course, the antique business. I was in the antique business for a good 8 years. I opened up a store, a little shop, and the idea was to buy and sell. I got into that through some books I read. It was a big thing at the time, antiques, used furniture, but good quality used furniture, paintings. And I knew people who were making a lot of money doing that. I knew one person who bought a painting at the Salvation Army in New York City, in Harlem, for pennies, and I mean pennies. And he auctioned it off at Sotheby's. It went for almost $200,000, if I recall correctly. So there was money in that. Now, somebody like me who hears that story, you bought this for $300 at the Salvation Army, you sold it for $200,000. Well, I'm all in. That's exactly my style. That's what that was my dream. And the business in the beginning was good. We were making money, and near the end, it kind of got rough. It got bad. The internet killed that business. To make a long story short, I lost it all. I lost the business, and I lost the house I was living in. I went back to college late in life. I was about 30 years old when I went back to college. I got 2 degrees, and then later I went back and got my MFA, my Master's of Fine Art. That was the big degree, that big meaning expensive, 6 figures. And I'm still paying that off till this day, by the way. I thought I would reinvent myself. And the only thing I really reinvented was my debt. I had astronomical debt, and I still do. But, I had this idealism that I wanted to make it big, despite coming from a very poor family. We grew up very poor, and I always was reaching over and above my level, my current level. I always wanted more. My father had a very stable job. He worked for Western Union. Remember them? I don't think they're in business anymore. He started when he was 14 delivering telegrams. Remember telegrams? That's a long time ago. So in his eyes, I was very unstable, doing all these different things, all these crazy harebrained schemes. That's how it looked to him. He would have been happy had I just gotten a job at the post office and collected a pension when I was 65. And who knows, maybe I would have too. I used to think that all these changes meant that I was unstable or that I failed. Now I think that it just means I kept moving. Not I made it, but I didn't quit. Maybe success isn't becoming one thing and staying there. Maybe success is surviving all the versions of yourself that didn't work out. I'm 61. I didn't become an astronaut. I didn't become a millionaire. And I didn't become a famous artist. But I'm still here. And maybe that counts for something. It must count for something. Until next time, peace.